I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We have the great pleasure of speaking with Shilpi Jain, who is a research and development scientist and the founder of prestige brand Skinveda. Skinveda is a brand that fuses Ayurvedic holistic medicine and modern delivery systems for beauty. So thanks for joining us today, Shilpi.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for having me.
It's a great pleasure to get into this topic. I know we've been trying for months to get together to talk about this very relevant topic right now in our industry, and that's kind of this idea of psychodermatology we keep hearing.
Mhm.
Um, so I want to step back and think about how this idea of psychodermatology for like skin and beauty specifically
Mhm.
echoes these ancient Ayurvedic beliefs and practices. I kind of want to know if you think psychodermatology is sort of a new Ayurvedic beauty.
Absolutely. Great question. So, I think psychodermatology is a specialty that has just been coming into fruition in the mid 20th century. However, it dates back to Hippocrates when he found out that when we are fearful, you know, we notice that our heart rate increases, and it also leads to sweating of the skin. So the origin of the brain, the central nervous system, and the skin is actually very common. They have the same origin, which is the ectoderm. So psychodermatology kind of highlights the bridge between the brain and the skin. So there are several diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, you name it. They're all related to your emotional and mental well-being. Ayurveda, on the other hand, is a 5,000-year-old medicine that has been practiced in India for the longest time. And the whole premise behind Ayurveda is the balance of the three vital energies, which are called the doshas. And it is really based on your mind body constitution and how it is affected by extrinsic and intrinsic stress factors.
Mm.
And all those reflect on the skin. So it's a manifestation of stress that shows on the skin, which is the largest organ. So they both kind of, I think it does echo, in
Mhm.
Ayurvedic beauty does echo into psychodermatology. Psychodermatology would be considered more contemporary, more modern.
Mhm.
But Ayurveda kind of is more specific, it's more specialized and personalized.
Okay, interesting. So I want to think a little bit then about some maybe specific examples. I
Mhm.
see references, and maybe this is kind of another term that molds them together, but holistic
Yeah.
beauty I hear about. I'm wondering now, do formulators need to understand biology and psychology on top of their actual chemistry background?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So yes, Ayurveda would be considered a holistic beauty because it looks at the 360-degree approach to your skin. It's not one size fits all. It's looking at your diet, your lifestyle, the weather that you live in, the way you behave towards any stressful situation. Everything affects your skin. So it is definitely looking at that. And of course, it's a concoction of herbs. A lot of herbs are used that are biomimetic compounds that we see in today's, products that are more medicinal, like salicylic acid, for example. But you can find that naturally present in some of these herbs. So yes, Ayurveda is definitely, more geared towards holistic aspects, and it's integrative and preventative.
Mhm.
Um, but as a chemist, if you're formulating an Ayurvedic product, you need to have the knowledge of the skin, but you also need to understand the doshas, the mental, the mind body constitutions of a person by doing a quiz, a questionnaire. Understanding that will really help understand what this person needs in order to balance the doshas. Of course, you don't really need to be a dermatologist, but you do need to understand the physiology of the skin and the behavior, the mental patterns that are associated with that particular disease. And of course the knowledge of herbs, because these herbs are very potent and powerful. Not You cannot just throw in turmeric and coconut or neem and assume that you got an Ayurvedic formulation. So every herb is very specific to
Mhm.
treat certain diseases or skin issues.
So I want to turn the focus a little bit. I'm thinking about sensitive skin now. I'm wondering about how does psychodermatology relate to it? How do Ayurveda does Ayurveda relate to that? Is there sort of a connection or correlation? And could these practices help maybe regulate skin sensitivity?
Yeah. So let's go with psychodermatology. And I think psychodermatology definitely kind of connects the dots between understanding the skin and why does it get sensitive? Because sensitivity is really showing that there is a dermoepidermal junction barrier that has been compromised or damaged, and that can also promote or exacerbate certain skin diseases, going back to psoriasis or eczema. These are conditions where there's increased sensitivity of the skin, and that can kind of cause you to be reactive to any kind of situation, be it fragrance, it elevates everything, every proponent of skin issue, from dryness to extreme sensitivity. So psychodermatology looks at those aspects of skin sensitivity from that angle by looking at how your skin is, in what condition and what has been compromised. However, Ayurveda, it looks at skin sensitivity based on what your doshic imbalances are. I'll give an example like Vata dosha. Imbalance means that there's excessive dryness in your skin because it's a sign of wind. So you can imagine someone who's always on the go, someone who's exposed to extreme harsh winter conditions will have very dry skin. And to counteract that, in Ayurveda, you would use something that's more warming, dietarily, and give them ingredients that will help normalize the cold, dry skin conditions by using oils and abhyanga or self-massage. If you're a pitta dosha and your pitta dosha is a sign of fire, and it's aggravated, it can lead to inflammation, skin inflammation. And these people are more prone to sunburns. So obviously you don't want to, be excessively outside, during this, when the sunlight is its brightest, because UV radiation can increase the skin sensitivity. So Ayurveda looks at skin sensitivity in a very different, yet very similar to psychodermatology, except that it is focusing on your doshas and where you are currently in terms of your doshic imbalances. And there are very specific routines, that can be advised to help mitigate skin sensitivity.
That's interesting. It sounds like too, just thinking about that's a couple examples. You said there were 3 doshas, right? If I remember right.
Yes,
So
you're right.
is there one aspect of each? Maybe you can mention the third one, but is there one aspect of each that would relate to sensitive skin? I wondered if maybe one dosha type was more prone to feeling that they had sensitive skin.
Correct. Yes. So yes, Rachel, actually all 3 can see skin sensitivity. So the third one is kapha dosha. And kapha dosha is a sign of earth. These people are more grounded, but when especially during rainy seasons, and it's very seasonally, affected. Their skin sensitivity can be due to excessive cold or rainy weather, and it can lead to congestion of the skin, large pores, dilation of pores. Very, the skin can get flared up. So if I were to look at all 3 doshas, I would say that pitta dosha seems to undergo the most sensitivity due to the weather, due to diet, and they're more prone to inflammation and skin sensitivity. And they also have a tendency towards the dermoepidermal junction being compromised.
You mentioned too, going out in the sun, the idea of being more sensitive to skin. I'm thinking now about photo damage and wondering if there's any approach, either from the psychodermatology or the Ayurvedic approach, to maybe help protect against it or to help repair it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, Rachel. I would say both are proponents of using a good sunscreen, because sunscreen to me becomes the number one aspect towards protecting your skin from UV radiation or photo damage. Psychodermatology looks at certain ingredients, active ingredients that would help blocking the radiation, but it could be a chemical sunscreen, it could be an organic sunscreen. And they also look at how this affects your overall skin, and it may not be very personalized because it's just trying to give you a good sunscreen. However, this is something where a consumer needs to understand, if they are sensitive to certain ingredients, reading the label and trying to understand what works best for you. Like, I know people who cannot use organic sunscreens. They can only use inorganic sunscreens with zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Ayurveda, again, it looks at photo damaged skin from the angle of your dosha, of course. If you're pitta dosha, why were you in the sun for such a long time when you you could have worn a hat? So sun damage is a huge aspect, and of course it's a holistic medicine, so it will look at natural ingredients and try to encompass certain things that will help increase the sun protection factor. There's a lot of oils in Ayurveda that actually have an SPF of their own. So by using those as delivery systems or carriers of inorganic pigments or organic pigments, you can really create an Ayurvedic sun care routine that would be more holistic, more natural, yet very effective, because these are still chemical compounds, but they're found naturally
Right, right.
in these herbs.
Can you name a couple of those oils? I'm just curious which ones.
Actually, coconut oil is one. It
Okay.
has, I don't know the exact SPF number on it, but it's
Mhm,
pretty high.
mhm,
I know that tulsi oil
mm,
is also another one.
mhm.
It has ursolic acid, and it also has certain um, photoactive like
Okay.
compounds in it.
Yeah, great.
Um, in the Western world, the argan oil is another one. And
Oh,
I know it's not Ayurvedic, but I just want to mention
yeah,
that,
another
for
oil.
formulators. Of course, jojoba oil is another one. And there's another one that I can't remember, but if I remember, I'll let you know.
I'm wondering if you see any future directions, this idea of holistic beauty, psychodermatology, even maybe the emergence more of these Ayurvedic beliefs and practices. Can you see any future directions that might be coming up?
Yes, yes. And I think holistic beauty, like you said, it's ever evolving. And I think there's a huge potential in the future to integrate modern technology from artificial intelligence or smart skincare devices. And I can think of, where people have an app, they can use to find out what the current imbalances are or doshas are, or their skin type is, something that integrates the Ayurvedic proponent of imbalances and personalization to
Mhm.
that level. Um, I also think that inclusivity is getting a big respect in amongst consumers. So any skincare brand that is holistic would need to understand inclusivity in terms of gender type, race, ethnicity, skin color, everything, and all those aspects are really important. And I think even diversity, diversity in creating products for all Fitzpatrick scales,
Mhm.
and more of a biophilic kind of beauty, where natural ingredients are being used and discovered, and you're trying to extract the main ingredients that are actually beneficial to your skin.
Mhm.
Those are all important aspects of holistic beauty, taking to the next level. And I think even something where you can collaborate with mental health professionals, if
Mhm.
a skincare brand can see a fit where you can discuss these mental health. There are so many mental health issues that can have a direct effect on the skin. We know that. I mean,
Yeah.
scientifically, it's proven. There's a
Mhm.
big brain gut skin connection.
Yes.
So if we can kind of collaborate with mental health professionals, doctors, and skincare brands, that would be huge.
Well, it's been really enlightening. I think that covers most of the questions that I have. So, with
Thank
that,
you.
I think I will go ahead and thank you for joining us. Thank you for your insights. Very interesting conversation. We appreciate
Thank
you
you,
being with
Rachel.
us today, Shilpi.
Thank you, Rachel. And I just want to say it was sunflower oil that I was thinking about.
Ah, very good.
Yeah.